Well, hey guys, how are you? Well, welcome back to Summer Sweet Shop. I am Summer and I'm so excited that you are here because today we're talking about pricing your cookies for profit, right? This is a topic that I get asked all the time and I'm super excited to share some strategies, some tips and some things that you can do to help you price your cookies for profit. So, first off, I gotta tell you this story about a cookie decorator that I've worked with in my Next Level Cookie Club, and she was super, super talented. Like, I'm talking jaw dropping talented. Her cookies were unbelievable and they looked like something out of a magazine. Like, you'd be flipping through Southern Living and you would see her cookies. They were amazing. And she came to me one day in our Next Level Cookie Club. We do a live Q&A. She came to me in that live Q&A and she was like, Summer, I am so burned out. I am working all the time and I have nothing to show for it. Well, she had some, but she didn't have what she expected to have in her bank account for how hard she was working. So I asked her, okay, like, well, how much are you charging for your cookies? And she gave me a number, guys, and I fell on the floor. Like, my jaw hit the ground. And y'all, it was less than what I spend on coffee, like fancy coffee during the week. And I said, wait a minute. So you're doing all of this work. You're adding all of these details to your cookies. You're adding this like premium packaging to your cookies, and you're just charging this much. And her answer was, I know, and I know that like I shouldn't, but I don't know how to charge more. And I'm scared that if I charge more, people aren't going to pay it. And I thought right then when she said that, I was like, that's the problem. That's the problem that so many of us face, where we're trying to price our cookies, our work. And you know what? Like, I've totally been there too. We're worried that the people are not going to pay the prices that we have set for our cookies. And the good news about that, though, is there is a way out of this. There is a strategy that you can use. So, why does pricing feel so hard? Why is it one of the number one questions I get from people of how do I price my cookies? What do I price them at? And here's the deal. Pricing, it's not just about the math, it's about the emotions, right? It's about the fear that we might lose customers. It's about people not hearing what we have to say because they discredit us when they hear the prices. When we hear that's too expensive. Pricing your cookies, it's about wondering if the number, if you're worth that number that you are charging for your cookies. And because of that, so many of us end up underpricing our cookies and overworking on our cookies. So when you're charging less than you should, you're not just losing money, like money that's going into the bank. You're losing your time, you're losing your energy, and you end up losing your confidence. You're staying up late a lot of times to finish those orders, and then you are wondering why at the end of the month you are so exhausted. And worse is when this happens over time, you start resenting the work that you honestly used to love. Most of us start out decorating cookies from a hobby, from a passion. And what happens is when you're not pricing the way you should, you start to lose that fire. And maybe you told yourself, I know I told myself this as a custom cookie decorator, well, I'll just charge more when I get better at my cookies. So my cookies start improving and my techniques start improving, I'll charge more then. Or maybe you said, well, I just want to make people happy. I just want to like be able to keep doing this. And the truth is, underpricing our cookies, it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve our families, and it doesn't even serve our customers. right? So when you're running on fumes, it's impossible to give your best to the people that you are trying to share your craft with, your love of cookies with. Friend, it does not have to be this way. You can price your cookies in a way that values your time, it values your talent, and it values your hard work. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So pricing for profit, it's a strategy. Here is the big idea that I really want you to remember today. Pricing your cookies for profit, it's not about a guessing and it's not about guilt. It's about strategy, okay? So when you know your numbers and you set your prices and then you're going to reflect on your worth, you're not just running a business, you're building a sustainable, joy-filled life. It's not just about your business and what the numbers are there. You want to have that quality of life there too and that balance. So here's the thing. When you price confidently, you're going to attract the right customers who, guess what? They're going to value what you do and what you create. And those are the people who are going to pay the prices that you're charging. They are going to rave about your cookies. And guess what? They are going to keep coming back for more and more and more. And that's what we want to happen, right? So you're probably thinking, okay, Summer, well, that sounds great and all, but how do I actually do that? How do I actually do that? So, I want you to, my notes just left, so give me just a minute. So how do you do that? So I'm going to break it down into 5 actionable steps of how you can price for profit. Number 1 is you're going to calculate the cost. So you're going to start with the basics. We are starting like, how much does this cost? How much do each of these cookies cost? If you've never done this before and you are selling cookies, I highly encourage you to do this. I want you to start with how much does it cost to make a dozen cookies? I had a cookie decorator one time tell me, well, I probably have had several of them tell me this, that they thought that they were making money, but I'm not sure. Like when I say like, are you profitable in your business? Well, I think I'm making money, but I'm not really sure. And that's because they weren't tracking their cost. That's because they weren't taking into account how much money it costs to make those cookies. What were their expenses? So the first step is knowing what are your costs to make your cookies. I want you to add up every single expense, okay? Not just like the ingredients, but I want you to include your ingredients. I want you to include the packaging. I want you to include electricity if you can, even wear and tear on your mixer, okay? I know it's not glamorous, but it is essential. So you're gonna start with a formula. You're gonna have your ingredients, plus your packaging, plus any overhead. If you can think of expenses, like maybe you have a website, so that's an expense that you have every month. If you have other things that are going into that, like just remember, like include those as well in your expenses. So that's number 1. Step number 1 is calculate your cost. Step number two is value your time. Your time is one of the most valuable resources, and you have to include that in your pricing. So I want you to look at your decorating, look at a dozen cookies. How long does it take you to bake, to decorate, and package a dozen cookies? If you even have to just write it down on a Post-it note for your next order that you're doing, I want you to do that. So for example, if it takes you 5 hours to bake, decorate, and package an order, and you want to pay yourself $20 an hour, that's $100 just for the labor. So that's a dozen cookies at 5 hours. If it takes you 5 hours to do that, that's you making $20 an hour. So I want you to think about that when you are charging a lot less than $100 for a dozen cookies if it takes you that much time to make them. Your time is worth something, so don't skip this step, okay? We had one of our students in Next Level Cookie Club. She was selling her cookies, and she realized that when she started to do this exercise, she was only paying herself $5 an hour. And she was slower. It took her a little bit longer to do things. And she was doing some things that were not as efficient. But once she adjusted her pricing, she totally felt more energized. She felt more excited about her work. And because of that, she felt like it was worth her time. Okay, so that's step number 2 is your time. Step number 3 is you've got to add in profit margin. We don't want to just be working for nothing at all. Profit is what allows your business to grow, and it's a good starting point to add 20 to 30% to your total cost for that profit margin. So this is a cushion that you are going to build into your cost, and it really covers those unexpected expenses, and it really helps you to reinvest in your business, which you should definitely be doing. So for example, if your total cost, your ingredients plus your time is $95 for those, whether that's a dozen, 2 dozen, or whatever, adding the 25% profit margin, it's going to bring it to about $120. So you want to just add in, like I said, a 20 to 30% profit margin. If you want to go conservative on the 20% side, do that when you're just starting out. But make sure you're adding in that profit margin. This is such an important step that I don't want you to miss. And step number 4 is you got to research your market. I want you to look around at what other cookie decorators in your area are charging. But here's the kicker. I don't want you to stop there. I want you to think about what are the things that set you apart as a custom cookie decorator. Do you offer custom designs? Do you offer premium packaging? Maybe you offer gluten-free options, or you offer a vegan option. Those are things that really set you apart in your business and who you are as a cookie decorator. And that's a good reason why you don't have to compete on the pricing. Maybe your competitors in your market are not using premium packaging, or they're not using quality ingredients, or maybe their cookies don't taste as good as yours or look as good as yours. So I want you to remember that when you are pricing your cookies. We had an NLCC member from Next Level Cookie Club who found out that her competitors were charging $3 a cookie, and she was charging $1.50 a cookie. And she knew that her cookies tasted better, they looked better, they were more beautiful. So she adjusted her prices, and not only did her sales go up, but so did her confidence. And that's what I want to happen. I want, when you raise those prices, I want you to feel good about it. I want it to make you feel like you are doing something that is worth your time, your energy, and that you are making other people happy with your craft. Step number 5 is practice your confidence. You will face pushback, and that's okay. You're going to have people that are going to say, I don't want to pay that price, and that's okay. I have dear friends that don't want to pay my prices for cookies, and that's okay. Practice what you will say when someone asks you those questions. When they say, why is your pricing that way? And you don't want to come off defensive, but you want to be on the offensive, that you can tell them why and feel confident, because when you portray that confidence, it's going to send them the right message, and they're going to believe that. So you could say these cookies are custom designed. They're made with high quality ingredients, which is why that they are priced that way. And when you say that with confidence, people will start to believe you, and they'll believe and know that your value matters. So one of my very favorite success stories is with a gal, Amy. She was in our Next Level Cookie Club as well, and she started her business charging, guys, $20 a dozen. And because she was just starting out, she didn't know where to start with her pricing. And she felt, after a little bit of time, she felt like she was just drowning in work, and she was not getting a reward for her hard work. And she started to implement this pricing strategy, and she raised her prices to $60 a dozen. And she told me, Summer, I was really scared to do this and I wasn't sure this was going to work and be the right thing. But guess what? Not only did she keep her regular orders and like her regular customers, she was actually able to gain new customers who said, they were coming to her saying, wow, I didn't realize that you were so good, that you were this good. But that's the best part. The best part of it, like that's really great. But the best part of this is she wasn't having to work more to make more money in her business. She wasn't have to be cranking out more cookies. She wasn't having to level up her cookies. She wasn't having to work even more. She was working smarter. She was charging what she was worth, and she was loving her business again. Okay, so that's what happens when you price for profit. You give yourself the freedom to work less, to earn more, and to truly enjoy what you love. So, friend, it is time to take charge of your pricing of your cookies. I don't want you to guess on it. I don't want you to just throw out a number. I want you to get strategic. I want you to follow these 5 steps. Give it a try, and it's going to make a huge difference in your business. So to make this easy, I have created a cookie business strategy, pricing strategy guide just for you. It's got a worksheet, it's got a labor cost calculator for you, and it's got real examples to help you price your cookies for confidence. So I want you to grab the link below in the show notes, and I want you to start valuing your time, your talent, and your business today. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you next time. I want to hear about you pricing your cookies. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.